What's going on, guys, and welcome back to Cedar Flags. We are back in Planet Coaster, and this episode we're working exclusively on this modern building. Yes, the Monsieur Frites building? Somebody told me to just say it like that with the French accent, and you'll be fine. So I'm going with that. Otherwise, I guess we can just call it the Mr. Fries. So anyway, we're going to be building this building out in this episode. Now, I intended to kind of do a little bit more in this episode, but unfortunately, it's that time of year where things are getting a little bit hectic due to the holidays, so I didn't really have as much time as I would have liked to kind of build a little bit more. We still have to build the row houses behind this kind of area here. The one that's going to connect to the Street Fox Coffee. Street Fox? Yeah. Yeah, we still have to build that just yet, but that'll be in probably the next episode. Although, I really feel like we should probably get into building some sort of rides because, I mean, this is a theme park in the end, and we've spent a lot of time building just buildings up until now. But, yeah, so there's a couple things that I think after, like, I've built this building already to a certain degree, and I think there's at least one thing that I kind of want to change, and I guess I'll talk about that when we go into the live portion of this episode. But yeah, we're just gonna watch the extremely long process of detailing this building. So you're seeing me work with these art blocks. So these blocks are basically just that, just blocks, and you can change the color on them and then make beautiful works of art. I've seen people on the subreddit make like the Nintendo characters, which, I mean, those people are so talented when it comes to that kind of thing. I am nowhere close to that in terms of just like art. I'm pretty good at building buildings, but when it comes to like replicating a character, no way. But yeah, you're seeing me in this episode do a lot of the modern buildings, and for whatever reason, I feel like I'm pretty good with modern style buildings because they're just blocky, and I think my Minecraft training has kind of kicked in at this point during this episode. Yeah, just finding like lines and straight lines. A lot of the modern design is just straight line work, and that's something that I can, I guess, put together in my head fairly well. So this is probably one of the styles that I'm very comfortable with. And then when we get into things like the European style, like on that last row house that we kind of built, I got a comment saying it was kind of like a French row house, I believe. So yeah, that style was a little out of my comfort zone, but I feel like that's a good thing to do, is to just kind of, you know, challenge yourself every now and then and make something different than what you're used to making. And that's how you kind of grow as a designer. So that's just, I guess, a little tip moving forward for you if you're kind of stuck making the same things over and over. But yeah, as you can see, we're using those art blocks as kind of like accent pieces on this whole building. I really wish that these art blocks had like a texture option or something, because right now they're just like this smooth color, and if you look close and you get in the right light, it kind of looks like a smooth rock texture almost. It's pretty, I like it, but I feel like there's a couple instances where I might be able to use these if they had a texture. Actually, going back to the episode before, I think it was episode 2 or 3, when I was building the little lamppost, I was trying to make a cap for him, and I had to use an art block because I couldn't find anything else to use. And if it was a stone texture, it would have looked amazing. But unfortunately, you can't change the textures just yet. It would be really awesome if they eventually implemented that, but I'm not entirely sure they would. But yeah, a lot of this episode is going to be just, I guess, tweaking these blocks because they don't come in a long enough run, so I had to just pile so many of them together in this build. This is building I think comes out to around 800 pieces. I honestly thought it was going to be a lot more. I thought I was going to get closer and closer to that 2,000 piece limit. And actually, I'm not sure. I've heard people complaining about 2,000 piece limit for buildings, and I'm not sure if that's just if you want to save a blueprint of it, or if it's in the actual like building. I'm thinking that you can probably get more than 2,000 pieces if you're just kind of like building in your park. But if you want to upload it to the Steam Workshop, I believe there's a hard limit on the number of pieces. But One of the bigger gripes that I have about this game currently, and if there's a fix for this out there, please let me know in the comments, but if you have like a big group, like if you multi-select a big group of items and you try to use the advanced movement tool, sometimes the origin point isn't correct to the item. So like if you grab like a whole row of these blocks, sometimes for whatever reason, I really don't know why this is happening, but sometimes it just, the origin like is off in, like slightly off of the objects that I've selected. And it's not like I've selected objects like in the background or whatever reason. I know all of the things that I have selected. It's just the origin or the axes aren't like perfectly in line, so they're just kind of at weird angles. So sometimes you try to move something and it would be a lot easier to just grab them all and move them, but yeah, sometimes it doesn't work, and when that happens, it takes so much longer to do things than it does otherwise. Yeah, I'm not really sure if you're going to be able to see that kind of happening in the time lapse because we're kind of going through this a little fast, but yeah, just, I don't know, if anybody's, if you know what I'm talking about, you probably get really annoyed by it as well. But anyway, right now what we're working on is this little angled wall here, and I think you saw me kind of try to either put a roof in there, or you will see me, I think that it happens a little bit after this, but I tried to put like an angled roof in there. Here I go. I also tried to put like some windows in there, and nothing really like worked. So what I ended up doing is actually just taking the walls out. And you'll see this sometimes in like this modern style of architecture, where these supports actually end up being more of just an outline of a roof. And I really like how this comes out in the end. And I ended up like designing this, and I thought, that looks cool. And then I thought, you know what? This could be a really, really interesting spot for people to come up and like hang out. So in the end, we actually go through, and there I am deleting it, but we go through and delete, or no, we put some path work up here, and then throughout the building, I'm gonna have like an entrance on the side street, on that weird angle street. We're gonna have a walkway up to this. It's gonna be really interesting to see if people come up there. And I know there's like a scenic lookout kind of object. I don't know, you can like how you can place ride entrances. There's one that's just for like scenic lookout spots, and I want to put one up there, but in the end I couldn't get it to work because it's like attached to one piece of path, so I couldn't really figure that out with the path work that I set up there. But I don't know, it brings me into a kind of question I have for you guys, and I'm not really sure unless you guys overwhelmingly want this, but I don't necessarily want to go in and design the interior of this building. And I said that I'm gonna have a path go through this building. I really don't think I want to go in and actually design like an office space or anything in there, because you're never gonna see it. Like from a distance, you'll never see it. You're just gonna see people kind of walking up on that like little plaza type lookout. I don't even know what to call that. But yeah, so I know some designers might actually go through and actually put like an interior to their buildings, but honestly, I kind of don't feel like that's necessary at this point. But you guys, I guess, can let me know if we should do that. I just kind of, from the outside, I think I want to make that look kind of interesting, but and I guess hide away the inside in a unique and interesting way, so it doesn't look like there's nothing in the building. But yeah, that's kind of my plan there. I cut out a lot of, or not a lot, I did cut out some of the building process in this episode here, in the time lapse, because a lot of it was very, very boring, I guess. It was just me trying to get those black blocks to just work right. And you're getting like the main points of this design, and I'm trying to keep in these time lapses just the main, I guess, central ideas. So anything I cut out of a time lapse is stuff that's not necessarily important, I guess. But yes, you're seeing me put a bunch of ivy back down, or not a bunch. I tried to kind of use the ivy sparingly, because I feel like if you just start putting ivy around everywhere, it could be overused very, very quickly. So yeah, just a little bit of an area on the corner just brought that little area a little bit more flavor, and it kind of ties it into the entrance. Again, we're using the same ivy. But around back, I actually got a really good comment. Somebody had said if we're going for kind of like a realism in this series, we should have a place on the back of buildings for like inventory and stuff like that, like dumpster space and stuff. So yes, we're gonna do that. That's a really great idea. And I actually intend on putting some sort of like maintenance hub in this park, because every park would have like that maintenance area where the employees would have like things like extra signs and that kind of stuff. But that'll probably be in a future episode. But yeah, right now we're actually kind of nearing the end of the time lapse, and we're gonna go live, and I'm gonna talk a little bit more about what we have done and what we're gonna be doing moving forward. Alright guys, so here we are back in the live portion, looking at what we just did in the time lapse. Now, I don't think it was like the most entertaining time lapse. It definitely wasn't the most exciting, but there was a lot of detail work going on, and I did actually edit out a little bit of it, so I do want to just kind of go around and check out what we did. So yeah, what we did is build this modern building like you just saw, and let's just start kind of on the plaza here. I really like this little flower bed that I put around here with the bricks, and I like how I tried to kind of keep the flowers with the same kind of, I guess, feel as the awning. And of course the ivy is back, and I really enjoy these two little, I guess, poster signs. I don't really know. They are really awesome. They just kind of fit really well in that spot. And there wasn't anything else that I could have put there, and just having a blank wall with some ivy on it probably wasn't that entertaining or interesting, rather. But yeah, that whole thing just kind of brings it together. Now, I think we might be able to put a little bit more ivy up here. Yeah, there we go. That looks a lot better. But yeah, so one interesting thing that I found as I was doing this is I found these, like, this coffee and this fry sign, and if you go in, there's like a neon light version of these signs, and then just the normal sign, and the fries are actually reversed. So the game thinks is called the neon sign when it's really just the general sign. So I'm not sure if anyone at Frontier is aware of that, but yeah. Anyway, going back to what we did rather early on in the time lapse was this top kind of like accent roof kind of detail work here. I don't know what to really call this. I'm not good with like the names of specifics in architecture. I'm just kind of like, I don't know, interested in what looks good. But yeah, this whole like angle and then flat and then angle back into this angled pillar here, it really, I guess, adds that much more flair. Like, in the end, this is just a square building, but that little bit of just angular work up there makes this whole like face of the building look so much more interesting. And it's just the little things like that are really important in architecture. And yeah, like this one little extra line here just adds that little bit of depth that goes into this, and like it doesn't have it on this side because it's not all that necessary, but over here, just that little lip adds so much to just this building. So yeah, if we kind of hop up here and check out what the people are going to be able to see here. Now, this is really cool. You can see the park entrance a little bit through the trees. Now, I normally don't really want the trees to kind of obscure the view around a park, but I feel like this park is kind of headed that way. A lot of green space in this park so far, and that's okay. I really enjoy just how this has turned out so far. But yeah, sightlines are extremely important in a theme park, and I think this one right here is awesome. We're gonna see a few more rides, hopefully, in this middle area, and then of course the Alpine Spirit coaster over there in the background. And actually, speaking of Alpine Spirit, I went through and I did a little bit more stuff that didn't make it into the time lapse. There's only a couple things here. This kind of extra roof here, I wanted to put that up there because, as you can see, I actually put another sign in here with another set of roofs in here, just to give this whole area just a little bit more of like an interesting look, because there really wasn't anything going on over on the other side of the station here, and no one ever really had to go in there or walk around. So there was no point for just to have a flat surface, so that just adds a little bit more interest. Now, the extra roof was kind of done because if people are walking around, if I can get down to people height, probably around here, they would be walking by here and they'd see, if this wasn't here and if the other sign was where we initially put it, they'd just see a duplicate sign. But if you're up close to it, all you see now is that Alpine Spirit sign behind, I guess, some of the queue areas. Like, I think, actually now thinking about it, people are going to be in line and you're probably not going to be able to read that all that much, but of course you can still read the Alpine Spirit sign. I just heard a song and that's why I said it. But yeah, you can still read it from, I guess, afar. You'll notice here, and I had said I want to kind of change a couple things, and I'd talk about that as we come back, and this is one of the things. I had put this little, I guess, cement path all the way back to the little back area that we had, I guess, left the time-lapse talking about. This is a really cool, like, employee-only kind of area. Couple garbage cans out here. I still need to put down some sort of, like, pallet of, like, I guess, shop goods or something, just to make it look more like it was used for just storage out back. But you can see here we have the little door, and I really wanted to use one of the doors, another door, but you couldn't change the color of it, and that really annoyed me. This whole thing, I'm kind of thinking about deleting all of these. These are just roof tiles at the moment. Thinking of deleting these and actually turning this into just a walkway, like a path. Like, why not, you know? This whole area back here is just going to be wasted if we just keep this as a scenic, like a scenery area. Why not have people be able to walk through here, and then eventually over here kind of turn the path off this way and go and meet back up with this, and then I guess have the row houses kind of have like an arch under it. That could be really, really interesting, and I really think we're going to be able to do that and pull that off, and this whole like row of buildings is just going to be really cool, and it's going to tie that whole thing together. But as you can see right now, we just have a start of another one kind of here just sketched out because I needed to know where to build this modern section up to, and I guess it's going to be there. So yes, and as you can see, this next building in the row here is going to be kind of a little bit deeper, and honestly I might start it one, I guess, block or one grid block deeper than this building, just to give this kind of some depth, because if you look down and there's just like the wall runs all the way down, it's kind of gonna, I guess, lose interest at some point. But yeah, so I don't really think there's much else to talk about, although I do want to say that this next building that we're gonna build is gonna be probably the entrance to this loft over here. So we're gonna end up working that through there and just kind of disguising it as something. We might actually put another restroom in there, even though there is one right there. I'm not really sure just yet. And maybe like an ATM. We definitely need to put an ATM. We haven't done that just yet either. But yeah, that's pretty much all we did. I know this is kind of a slower episode, or not slower, but we didn't really do all that much. Although this building literally took forever. Like I said, there are 807 objects in this one building here, and it doesn't even include like this whole other building right here, or this whole like planter and the back alley kind of stuff is all on a separate building. So yeah, it took a while, and it's definitely all together combined over 1,200 objects, and then you add what we're gonna be putting in here. This might be like a 3,000 or 4,000 object kind of area, which is a scary proposition. It's definitely gonna take a bunch of time, but yeah, like I said, this one build took probably around 4 or 5 hours. But yeah, so what are we doing in the next episode? Well, I think I'm gonna change this path for sure, and then probably meet it up with this over here. I'm undecided as to whether or not I want to continue on this building right away, or maybe build another ride just to kind of break up the monotony that is detailed building. Like that whole ordeal took so long that I kind of just want to put another ride in. So I may, in the next episode, kind of focus over on this area and do something just over here. Maybe do a little bit of terrain work just to kind of pull this together with this this little, I guess, cliff side that we have going on right now. But yeah, so guys, stay tuned for that one. I guess let me know if there's anything specific that you want to see in the next episode. Let me know how this building came out. I got a lot of requests for keeping it the modern style, but doing some detailing work, and we did some detailing work. We did a lot of detailing work on this building. This save will be up in the Steam Workshop, so go ahead and grab it if you want to continue off of what I've already done in this park. And guys, leave a like if you like this video, a dislike if you disliked it, of course, and if you're not subscribed yet, go ahead and click that subscribe button. And yeah, I guess I'll see you guys back here in Cedar Flags in the next episode.